All right, so now let's see how to multiply complex numbers. Now you'll notice multiplication of complex numbers because you'll see them right next to each other. No addition, no subtraction. Be very careful. You might, if you're not looking closely enough, you might think it's addition or subtraction when it's actually multiplication. So we're multiplying the complex number negative 3 plus 7i times 5 minus 9i. Now, in this situation, we need to distribute. We're going to have to multiply everything over here by everything over here. So this negative 3 has to be multiplied by the 5, and the negative 3 has to be multiplied by the negative 9i. Then we have to multiply the 7i times the 5. Then we have to multiply the 7i times the negative 9i. So we're actually going to have 4 multiplications. We're going to multiply the negative 3 times the 5, then the negative 3 times the negative 9i. Those are the hills. Now we have valleys. Now the 7i is going to be multiplied by the 5, and the 7i is going to be multiplied by the negative 9i. That's 4 different multiplications. Here's how I do it. You can do it this way. I think it works pretty well. Here's how I do it. I'm going to first do the negative 3 times the 5, and I'm going to write it in kind of like this. Negative 3 times 5. See? Negative 3 times 5. Then plus. Then I'm going to do the negative 3 times the negative 9i. Negative 3 times negative 9i plus. Then we're going to do the valleys. 7i times 5. 7i times 5 plus. Always a plus. Always a plus. If it's going to become a minus, it'll become a minus after we multiply things, and we'll get a negative value. Then we have 7i times negative 9i. 7i times negative 9i. This one is important. This one's tricky. This is the trick to the whole problem. I'll show it to you in a minute. So negative 3 times 5, that's easy. Negative 15. Negative 3 times negative 9i, negative 3 times negative 9 is positive 27 with an i, so plus 27i. 7i times 5 is 35i, so plus 35i. And then here, 7i times negative 9i is negative 63, and I times I is I squared, so minus 63i squared. Now I want to remind you, there's 2 things going on here. We need to combine like terms. The middle terms can always usually be added together. And then look, see this I squared right here? Remember that I squared is the same thing as negative 1. We're going to replace that I squared with a negative 1. And so we're going to have negative 15, and then here plus 27 plus 35. What is that? Say 50, 60, 62. 62i. And then minus 63, but times this I squared becomes negative 1. And negative 63 times negative 1 is plus 63. So we get minus 15 plus 62i plus 63. And 63 and negative 15, 63 minus 15 is 48. And so our final answer is 48 plus 62i. And I think we should probably do just one more example. All right, you may want to pause the video and try this one on your own. All right, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do 5 times 8, 5 times 8 plus 5 times 7i, 5 times 7i, negative 3i times 8, so plus negative 3i times 8 plus negative 3i times 7i. Negative 3i times 7i. Okay? So here, 5 times 8, that's 40. Plus 5 times 7, that's 35i. Then negative 3 times 8 is negative 24i, minus 24i. And then negative 3 times 7 is negative 21i squared. Negative 21i squared. Now watch this. This I squared is negative 1, so it's going to change this to a plus 21, no more I squared. 35i minus 24i, that's 11i. And then we have a 40. So we have 40 plus 11i plus 21. 40 plus 21 is 61 plus 11i, and that is our final answer.